This Thanksgiving, I have a lot to be grateful for. Amazing friends, a loving family, and a delicious meal I'm about to share with them. But near the very top of that list, I'm thankful that I'm not J.D. Vance. Just think about what it must be like to be him. No real sense of identity, no clear morals, and hardly anyone who genuinely cares for you. Those who pretend to support him secretly mock him, while those who openly dislike him ridicule him constantly. It must feel awful, especially knowing that the one person whose approval he craves most, his boss, Donald Trump, not only withholds it, but actively sabotages his biggest ambitions. A recent report reveals how Trump has been undermining Vance and mocking him repeatedly, both publicly and privately. We'll dive into all of that, but first, if you could leave a like on this video, and if you haven't yet subscribed and enjoy our content, hitting the subscribe button really helps us keep going. Before we break down how Trump has reportedly been belittling J.D. Vance, both to his face and behind his back, I want to start with someone who seems far too infatuated with Vance. And it's a little unsettling. And that's Erica Kirk.
They went to the weirdest places.
Oh my gosh. You guys, please. So for those of you who know me, I hug.
Yes, you're an intense hugger.
Whoever
awesome.
is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves. I will give you a free hug anytime you want a hug. My love language is touch, if you will. But seriously, that hug. So I will give you a play-by-play. I'm walking. They just played the emotional video. I'm walking over, he's walking over, I'm starting to cry. He says, he's so proud of you. And I say, God bless you. And I touch the back of his head. Anyone who I've hugged that I have touched the back of your head when I hug you, I always say, God bless you. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else. So if anyone...
They were acting like you touched the back of his ass.
I feel like I wouldn't get as much hate if I did that. But no, seriously, so now when I go and hug people, I'll bring them back in and be like, I obviously didn't give you the right hug. Like, let me touch the
No, I'm not convinced by the narrative that it was just a harmless hug, completely platonic, and nothing to worry about. Honestly, I believe that if J.D. Vance thought divorcing Usha and marrying Erica Kirk would get him closer to the White House, he wouldn't hesitate for a second. And this is why, and I know some people might not like me saying this, I don't really see Erica Kirk primarily as a widow. To me, she functions more like the CEO of Turning Point USA. That's why I'm constantly critical of her. She isn't someone who steps back from the spotlight to focus on family or take time off. Instead, she jumped right back into running that controversial organization, raising money to support causes largely funded by billionaires who regularly target and harass Black women. So yes, I don't feel guilty about criticizing Erica Kirk, and certainly not J.D. Vance, because both of them are among the least interesting and charismatic figures out there. And yet somehow they make a living speaking. It never makes sense to me. Just watch J.D. talk about his opinions on turkey at Thanksgiving. It's one of the strangest speeches I've ever seen, and it highlights exactly why Trump's criticisms are now becoming public.
That's a uniquely American thing. That's why, for example, we have, turkey. Think about turkey. Who really likes, be honest with yourselves, who really likes turkey? You're all full of shit. Everybody who raised your hands. I know. Think about it. And here's how I know that every single one of you who raised your hand is lying to me. How many times do you roast an 18-pound turkey just randomly? Just, a nice summer afternoon, we're going to go get an 18-pound turkey. Nobody does it because turkey doesn't actually taste that good. But on Thanksgiving, on the most American holiday, I got a fan over here. On the most American holiday, we're going to cook a turkey, by God, because that's what Americans do. We cook this gigantic American bird, and we do all kinds of crazy things to make it taste good. I talked to a soldier today who she said she's going to deep fry a turkey, and I'm actually going to deep fry a turkey myself tomorrow. And look, here's the thing. If you've got to deep fry something to make it taste good, it probably isn't that good. That's a pretty good rule of thumb when it comes to food. Chicken is good all the time. Chicken is good when you deep fry it, but it's also good outside of it. But here's the thing about Thanksgiving. It is so American because at the heart of it is the spirit of gratitude.
What is he talking about? You don't like turkey? Okay, then like have some ham. I don't know. H, have some brisket. Like do anything else but talk. And honestly, I think the reason that these guys hate turkey so much is because they don't know how to season their food. This is one of the funniest days of the year for MAGA Twitter because everyone is outing themselves as this terrible cook. Like we remember the Marjorie Taylor Greene picture, but look at what Stephen Miller posted today. Like, is that not the most disgusting turkey you have ever seen? And the food looks bad as well, but it's like, of course Stephen Miller can't cook. Of course Stephen Miller doesn't season his food. He's not some incredible chef. But this is a self-report from J.D. Vance. Also, like, no one is laughing at you. No one finds you charming. No one finds you interesting. No one thinks you're funny. J.D. Vance is just such a detestable figure. You don't want to have a beer with him. You don't want to hang out with him. You don't even know who he is. Again, there's no sense of self there. He's not a real guy. He's this inauthentic shell of like, how do I get to the White House? How do I elevate myself? And JD, it is not going to work because the people around you see right through you, including the guy who you are going to have to beg for an endorsement, who you are protecting pedophiles on behalf of right now, hoping you get that endorsement. But even Donald Trump is mocking JD Vance's biggest dream. Author reveals how Trump and Bannon are secretly trolling JD Vance. Author John Carl suggested that Donald Trump and Steve Bannon aren't serious about the president seeking an unconstitutional third term in the White House and are instead pushing the idea to troll the president's potential heir, Vice President JD Vance. For months, Trump has suggested he could try and run for president again in 2028, despite it being illegal. It seemed Trump was simply baiting his critics by implying he might try to remain in power or using it as an excuse to excite his MAGA base during public appearances. However, the president began taking the idea more seriously, telling NBC News in March that he was not joking about exploring how he might stay in office. In October, the 79-year-old president ultimately admitted that the Constitution makes it pretty clear, obviously, he can't serve a third term. Bannon, a top Trump ally and host of the influential War Room podcast, told The Economist last month that he was working on a plan that could allow Trump to run again in 2028. The issue for Vance or any other potential 2028 Republican hopeful, such as Secretary of State Marco Rubio, is that they cannot launch a White House bid while MAGA remains fixated on the idea that Trump will somehow pursue a third term. Speaking on Morning Joe, Carl said Trump will struggle to acknowledge that he must eventually leave office, therefore making him a lame duck president in his final months. At what point does he actually make it clear, no, I'm not running, and it's one of these guys or it's that guy, and now all the attention shifts? Carl said, I covered the Obama White House. You know what it's like in 2015, 2016 when you're a lame duck? Nobody pays any attention. I don't know how he voluntarily passes the baton. He added, I don't think right now he's serious about staying another term. Donald Trump keeps bringing up 2028 for a few reasons. Part of it is clearly his own need for attention, and part of it seems designed to troll JD Vance. Honestly, if we allow Trump to do one thing, it should just be that. Trolling Vance. That's enough to laugh at. But But it's also remarkable how completely J.D. Vance has sold himself out. He's twisted himself into knots trying to please Trump, constantly flattering him, all for the hope of a nod toward the 2028 Republican nomination. Meanwhile, Trump is thinking about running again himself and seems more focused on undermining Vance than elevating him. It's funny, too, because if Trump were to endorse Vance, it would actually strengthen Trump's control over his fracturing coalition. MAGA is clearly splintering, and the party is already trying to figure out what it will look like in a post-Trump era. Trump doesn't want anyone planning ahead, so he keeps dangling 2028 as a distraction. If he declared Vance his successor, it would be a power move. Trump would still be pulling the strings behind the scenes, with Vance completely beholden to him. But Vance doesn't seem to grasp that, or maybe he does, and it's eating him up inside. Trump sees Vance as weak and unworthy, fine when he was just a campaign aide, but now, in power? No way. Vance cares only about the presidency and the nomination, but Trump is making it clear, absolutely not. According to Hakeem Jeff during the meeting with the Trump 2028 hats, Trump looked at Vance and made it obvious how little respect he has for him, basically asking if Vance is just going to let him control him. Trump sees Vance as a joke, a pushover, and a loser, and honestly, it's hilarious because he's not wrong. But Trump is giving him one last chance to redeem himself. A special election in Tennessee. Afton Bain is running an impressive insurgent campaign in a deeply Trump district, currently just 2 points behind. Vance visited the district to try and help, but honestly, sending him there might do more harm than good. We need to pay attention to candidates like Afton Bain. She's incredible and deserves our support.
As you mentioned, according to a new poll, your race in that very same district is very, very close. So help us understand how you made this thing a toss-up.
Well, this race is competitive because Tennesseans are fed up and we're done being sold out to the highest bidder. And voters across the 7th District want leaders who will fight for their families and not the Billionaire Boys Club, who is backing my opponent, my Republican opponent.
I think the conventional wisdom, I just showed part of it. You have this great ad where there's a mechanical bull, which is an example of this. But the conventional wisdom some Democrats might have, or that some people, an analyst out there might have, is that to win a red district like yours, a Democrat might have to tack to the right, or at least tack to the middle. You have run unapologetically progressive. I've mentioned a bunch of things, but you've talked a lot about affordability. But why do you think that has worked in narrowing the gap and not sort of the more traditional go tack to the center approach?
Well, as serving in the state legislature, I have organized around ending Tennessee's very regressive grocery tax for 3 years and have built a bipartisan coalition of those who want to lower taxes for working families. And this race, this campaign has been a continuation of that. And so I've just been on the campaign trail talking about cheap groceries, cheap utilities, lowering rent costs, and it's resonating with so many folks across the district. I also got my start as a healthcare organizer, as you mentioned, during the 2017 Affordable Care Act and Medicaid fights. And I have been trying to make healthcare more affordable for Tennesseans my entire organizing tenure. And so that's really played out in the district as well, with Republicans, calling me, emailing me saying, I need you to preserve the subsidies in the Affordable Care Act, and you will be the first Democrat I will ever vote for in my life.
When it comes to Democrats, it's not just about winning. Of course, we want to win, and we will win this race. But the fact that Democrats can even be competitive in a district that Trump won by 22 points just a year ago is incredible. That it's this close that Donald Trump has to send J.D. Vance and even hold a televised town hall, that's unheard of. It shows just how fractured MAGA has become. And honestly, that's something I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving. I hope you've all had an amazing day. Whether you're watching football, enjoying incredible food, or spending time with friends and family, I truly appreciate you taking a little time to hang out with me. It means a lot. We'll keep pushing forward and fighting on this channel. If you want to support that, you can hit the subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you've watched all the way to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.